Ready? So I'm Tony Fraser.
Jamie Shannon.
Today we did 2 workshops. One was entirely focusing on the fundamentals of dancing in closed, and the other one was on turns. When we started in the closed position, it was basically just all about walking and about the difference between leading the turn and leading a weight change, right? Pretty much the first hour of the class was doing stuff like this. We also did, so we worked on cylinders, but not quite yet. We also did stuff like this.
So he can rotate himself, or he can rotate me, or he can rotate both of us to dance in different orientation.
Right. So we try to really focus on the crispness of the lead of the change, and then we also, and then later we also worked on hesitations a little bit. And the way that we talked about that, the way that we described that was that, you know, if we're walking and we have a pulse, if you're going to hesitate, you have to basically hold the thing up and then go down, right? And if you're going to lead a weight change, a turn, if you're going to lead a turn, it starts at the bottom of the pulse, right? So we're here.
Up, down. Up, down.
Right. So we were really just sort of working on exactly when to do those leads to make them really clear.
We did a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
We
So
added some
started,
syncopation in the timing so that we could play with timing of the footwork and also rotating the cylinders.
let's start with cylinders.
Okay.
So to us, the cylinders is this concept where we do things like this, right? So, for instance,
So he's rotating the cylinders to go in and out in different directions.
we dance a lot with stuff like this. Right, so we're both doing the same thing. We spent a lot of time sort of working on that. And then we played with the rhythms. We did we ended up doing this thing called Jessie, thanks to our friend Jessie.
Or we kept it in one direction and didn't switch. That was another fun one to play with. Yeah.
More commonly, like something like that. Yeah.
And then we gently, because we weren't using any rock steps or triple steps yet, we started incorporating them back in by doing some out and in and then the sideways triple step.
Right.
Which looks like a bambouree.
So we just talked about this motion here, and then we talked about it doing it with cylinders here,
Yeah.
here, here, and then that's the only rhythm we did in the first 2 hours. That part of a right. Okay. Good.
Yeah, we also had like an interlude on follower influence a little bit, but that's harder to demo, and I think we drove that point home that the follower can influence the dance by adding extra compression or rotation or footwork as needed, because we had a lot of time of just focusing on the lead, so we did play with letting the follows make their own variations in there.
Right. Or, in my words, inspiring me
Yes.
to change my own dance to make it better, because the more that you influence my dance, the more you're bringing out of me. So I appreciate that. Okay.
And then we went into the turns workshop, and we talked a lot about the difference between stationary turns and traveling turns, and we did exercises for both of those.
Yeah.
Should I show that?
Yeah.
So in a stationary turn, your leader is turning you in one spot. So it could be done on 1 foot, or you can swivel it around on 2 feet, but you're not being asked to move. So the biggest challenge there is holding your weight over one side so that you can turn, which means your head has to be over your shoulders, which are over your hips, which are over your feet, so nothing's tilted. You want to stay perfectly on your axis, as you're being rotated around. I also recommend spotting so that you don't get dizzy. So that means look at whether it's your leader or a spot in the room and watch it the whole time so that your eyes know where they're starting and stopping throughout the turn. If we are doing a traveling turn, you have to kind of walk through it. That's when your leader is asking you to do maybe consecutive turns that travel down a line. In this, you want to practice keeping your feet equidistant the entire time, so you don't want to take different size steps as you're turning. And I want my toes and my knees always pointed forward. So if I go to take a step, I can't turn my foot in. I need to take this whole side of the body with me to take that step. So my alignment and body positioning doesn't change the whole time, and the distance between my feet doesn't change. And I do half turn, half turn, half turn, half turn, and I spot so that I'm traveling down the line. And we practice this in both directions. Try to keep the shape of your body consistent through that whole turn. So nothing is changing as you're turning. You're balanced. Then we did some of the examples of those partnered.
Yeah.
So I think we started with the stationary pop turn.
Right, so the first turn that we did was just to practice sort of out and back. So what we did before we got into, so the first thing we did was we kept our partner over this weight, this
My
foot right
left
here.
foot.
So I just sort of shifted, kept my partner, and I came back. And then we practiced stepping in and getting our partner to come back. But it was more of a, we did that when we also did it really quick.
We did it with,
Like that.
and we did the ones that catch the ribs. So
Right.
we caught the tricep versus catching the rib. So he caught my rib instead of my tricep, and then we did one over the top of the head.
We did this.
And then to make.
Before we did that, we did it 3 different ways. So we did those 3 different hand grips, sure. We also did it first where we're keeping our partner over here, over this, like that, and then we did kind of the same thing on this foot here, right there. And then we also did it kind of slow where our partner walks and does 3 steps. Right, so we practiced the stationary and the traveling turn with just that one exercise.
And to build on the traveling turn, we did the 2 versions where you throw out from here, one with my right hand connecting to your left. So he stretched me away, and then he backs up and makes me do a turn to come in. So that I have to travel, so I have to practice keeping my feet under me. And then we did it with the other hand as well, the further away hand. So you can lead it from here, or you can let it rotate even farther, and it catches the other hand before it directs the turn.
And I have to give Luke a donut because I challenged him to do this.
Catch and a hesitation and crossover.
Different one, but I did complete the challenge.
Get one of the challenges. Okay, what do we do next?
Then we probably started some of the windy ones, the one that went down under here, and then the one up here. And there was one with a slide in it.
The first one, so then we started rifling through just turn after turn just to give some of our favorite turns. We did this one where it turns.
And they do a slide. And that hand holds, this hand dives down and winds kind of around and lands on my hip bone.
Here.
I travel a little bit. He's not asking me to travel a lot, just a couple steps, and then he does the slide to join me.
And then we did
And then we brought it up to the shoulder.
so we did the same turn, but instead of coming down, we came up. And then step,
And we get into
step.
the compression here of both hands, and then
And
he
then-
winds an inside turn. As many as you like.
Right? But the reason we did that was because we wanted to do a sit spin.
And then the last turn on the end was this in a swing up variation where we would
Oh, yeah.
direct the follow around.
Just a sort of a really simple one because we had a little bit of time
4,
left.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, turn, step, step, swivel, step.
Okay? All right, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you. Good job, guys.